450 race recap brought to you by our friends at Worx. Always well hung, just like Cameron Sackadoo.
Let it all hang out.
He's going to hate us, dude, because he really
Speaking of growing and showing.
Oh, boy. No. All right. Jumping into the 450s here. Did you guys watch my reaction show?
No.
He caged the beast, baby.
Oh,
we caged the beast.
I don't know. That's a little far.
No way. Look, here's the thing.
Here's the thing. Him, though.
Here's the thing.
Him in this round.
I heard this week. I don't remember what show. So whoever said this, apologies, but I totally agree. All that's been happening is we've been delaying the inevitable. This is what it's going to be.
And we're going to go down the road.
This is what it's going to be. Tell me I'm wrong.
Dude, are we going to do this every time Jet wins a race?
I mean, okay.
Like,
here's the thing. It's not just that he won a race.
But hold on.
We now have a 10-point lead.
Hold on.
He's won 3 races and threw 1 away.
Listen. Are we going to do this though every time? Like, let me go on my little rant.
Okay, go for it.
Are we going to do this every time Jet wins a race? Because
Reload rant.
And I'm going to be very calm when I say this. I'm guilty of it because obviously I did this all through Stu's entire career. Uh-huh. So I'm guilty of it. Nobody is not. When you have
Can you imagine if we had the show when Stu was riding? Me and him yelling at each other.
Stu until after he retired.
Well, and I
didn't like Stu either.
I was the odd man out because everybody was a Ricky homer and I was a Stu fan, and I've been a Stu fan for a very, very long time. But everybody did this. Obviously, you can go back to the 80s when everybody did this with David Bailey and Ricky Johnson. Then the 90s with JMB and Stanton, and then Ricky, and then Stu.
What
and then
about
RV,
McGrath? You skipped him.
McGrath. Then RC, and then Stu, and then RV, and then like, I understand when you have a favorite and somebody is very dominant, especially like Jet, a generational talent, a phenom, all the superlatives you can think of when you're talking about Jet. I get it, but I never really understood it when I was like during that time with Stu, why everybody would get annoyed when I, like, every time Stu would win by 30 seconds, people would get like pissed off at me. But now I get it. Like, this is why people
now I understand.
This is why people don't like, and I'm sure it's going to happen when Deegan, if he ever goes on a win streak or starts, finally living up to all the hype that he has had around
Which
him.
I think is coming also.
I get it, but do we really have to do this every time Jet wins a race? Like, hey, he killed it last night. He did something that nobody's done at Daytona to Eli, and we'll get to Eli and talk about it. I get it, but every time he wins a race, do we really have to go, oh, we've been delaying that, we'll do this? Because for 2 times this year, we've talked about, oh, he's going to go on a streak now, and then he doesn't win the next weekend. And he does either because he wasn't, he had the issues with the mud race, or Glendale, he just wasn't fast enough, whatever. He won in Detroit, then Glendale, and then obviously he was leading last week, throws it away, a la Stu style. Mm-hmm. But do we really have to do this every time Jet wins a race? Like, yes, Jet could go into Birmingham this weekend, and he could win another race, and he could go on a roll. Or he could go to Birmingham and get 5th. Like, can we just analyze the race as it is and appreciate what he did, but we don't have to do this whole big thing of like, oh my God, he's going to finally do it? Because every time he wins, and then if he doesn't the next weekend, it just makes everybody look really fucking stupid.
So,
like, am I wrong?
No,
I get your point for sure. But for me, and I know I'm cutting you off, I'm sliding right in front of you.
Go ahead. I'll hold my tongue. It's fine.
I don't know, man. I just saw, and I'm not a Jet homer by any means, but yes, I did buy T-shirts because they're cool. Nobody else was doing the merch thing. It's cool to have in like 5 years from now. They'll be vintage someday.
Yeah, because we have the originals.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, I don't know, man. I'm not a homer, but I just saw something different. Like his interviews and stuff were like, no, I'm here. I'm strictly business. I lost last week. Like, this is what I did wrong, and I'm coming in. I'm winning this shit. Like, strictly business, just fucking laser focused. He seemed, and it's like this whole week he was like, there's no distractions. I'm going in here and I'm kicking ass, and that's exactly what he did. Now, if he can turn that dial and keep doing it, again, theoretical, like you say, he hasn't been able to turn that dial week after week.
Not in Supercross yet. And I'm not saying eventually he won't. I'm not saying he won't.
I mean, outdoors was easy for him.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though, and this was and we were just talking about with Eli and Daytona. But really, though, even though a lot of us, me included, thought Eli, with the way he rode, and like I said, we'll get to Eli, but it's Daytona, bro. Does it really shock anybody of all the tracks, though, that he did this to? Like, that's the thing is, ultimately, I think in the end of Jet's career, he's going to win Supercross titles. we're going to look back and say he was actually a better outdoor guy because he has a lot more room to move around. Yeah. He can hop, skip, conserve energy, even though he was sketchy, just like everybody else last night was.
He was.
But it's just like
he was getting through that one section good though. Did you?
Yeah, and then there was a few times though that they pay into the camera to him after they've been off for a while, and he's doing the same thing Eli.
Yeah.
He's fucking bouncing off, trying to blitz through.
Well, he was figuring out how to blitz through it, but one thing was very Stu-esque, and you'll appreciate it if you know what I'm talking about. But it was like the 3-5-3 at the end of it, and he went off the small one and just skimmed off the top like Stu would use the forks and level the bike out and go across, and I was like, damn, that's sick.
Look, I'm kind of at the point that like, do we have to do this every time he wins? Like, yes, maybe he goes to Birmingham and he wins, and then he goes to Indy and he wins. But if he doesn't, what if he doesn't go to the Birmingham this weekend and wins?
We don't have to do this every time.
Like,
because
it's just annoying.
Eventually, it's going to level out, man. That's the thing. It's
I don't know, man. He hasn't been perfect, and he's still got 3 wins, and he's ahead in the points still.
Yeah,
so.
by double digits at this point.
And he's got the points lead, but it's not like, and he's even said this in an interview, this season has gone a lot different than he thought. He has the points lead by 10, and that's all that matters. But he only has one more win than the second place guy. My point is that I just don't think we have to do this every time he wins. We have to go, oh my God, because I saw a thing, I don't know who, it was on Vital. Somebody goes, oh, have we finally seen Jet unlock whatever? And I'm like, dude, he just went perfect season outdoors. Like, wouldn't you have thought that was like the cue that he's going to be really, really good? But it's also, Supercross is different than outdoors. Like I said, we could go to Birmingham. Eli rides like he did in Arlington, except the whole entire race, and fucking wins by 10 seconds too. I just don't want to do this every time Jet wins a race. We go, oh my God, he's going to go on a streak, because if he doesn't, it makes the whole conversation look really fucking stupid on everybody's end. It's cool to talk about. It really is. And it makes our show look, it makes podcast worth it. But it's kind of one of those things, it's like, is it really worth going on the, oh my God, he's finally going to go on the run, because when he doesn't?
But he brings up a good point. The interviews last night
They were different. They were different.
That's all fine and dandy.
I actually sent Johnny and Coach a text, and I said, it's great that he won, and I'm pumped as a Jet guy that he won, but if this attitude is what it takes for him to win, it's going to be a boring decade.
It seems
did you see Eli's interview, though? That was a lot different than anything else, too.
We'll get into that, too.
He was pissed.
Yeah.
He was.
We'll get into that, too.
My thing is, though, the way Eli rode last week, the attitude he had last week after the ride he had, which was kind of like, fuck these kids.
I think he was terrible last night, to be honest
I
with you.
really thought that, okay, if at any point Eli is going to step back in and say, I'm here to fuck, as Jace would say, I really thought it was going to be last night. We came off a great ride. We were in what are they calling it? Daytomac or something?
Yeah, I mean, some crazy stats. Like 7 out of the last 8 years. Brayton's fluke win.
Yeah.
And I saw another one that said Tomac wins 7. The rest of the field combined 0.
So I really thought that, like, if we were going to see this at any point where he was going to step in, and then the rest of the season was kind of going to be up in the air as it's been, last night would have set that off.
And we would have thought that.
And when Jet came out in that heat and did what he did, and I text you guys, and I was like, uh-oh. Yeah,
I wasn't holding my breath.
And you
off
guys
the heat.
were like, whoa, relax. And then, what was it, 15 minutes in, you sent a text, and you were like, this is a fucking ass whooping.
And it was. And this is not taking anything away from what Jet did last night.
And again, I'm not really here.
A lot of it came down to one section, though.
It did.
And Eli even knows, like, this is that VRM in him.
Yeah.
He didn't hit that quad.
But here's the thing.
And I think his bike looked like shit, to be honest with you.
But here's the thing with the VRM and him knowing that. I'll tell you the same thing when I listened to the Starling interview about him with the LCQ a few weeks before. It ain't going to happen anymore, dude. When you get to that point in life and you've got the 3 kids and the money in the bank and whatever, there is a switch that turns that, and I said it last night on the reaction, and I'll say it again. When I was 20, I did not think twice about wheeling my motorcycle at 80 miles an hour between 2 cars going down the highway. At 35,
your frontal lobe developed.
My front lobe developed, and I don't even want to ride down the highway on my street bike anymore. So, like, these guys, yes, they're out there, and they are fast as hell on a motorcycle, and they're going to win races still and everything else. But when it comes down to it, they have that different. VRM, and it's different
when you get to that age.
Jet.
It's different.
So, like, I'm here to tell you, 10 out of 10 times from now on with Eli, when there's that section like that and it's sketchy and he goes, well, if I hit this, I'll run with him, but if I don't, I won't. He isn't going to hit it. It just isn't going to happen. And he can say, oh, yeah, that's where I screwed up. That's where I screwed up. It isn't going to happen, man. I'm sorry. Your brain's developed now. Like, you're going to look at that and
he's
go,
got
nope.
way more to lose than what Jet does.
I guess I just can't look at with Eli, and it's me once again giving Eli all the credit that I can't go from what I saw in Arlington and we go to the normal Supercross track and be like, if he harnesses that, he's not going to win.
I'm not saying he won't win again.
And Daytona, and like I said, I just think last night he was pushing it, and then he was not committing to that section. The bike looked like shit. Back to Jet. I'm not taking anything. Jet, he annihilated last night. He looked great. He got sketchy just like everybody else did, but he obviously was least sketchy out of everybody else. He did something that we didn't think was going to happen anytime Eli rode Daytona. I just don't want to do this whole thing that every time he wins a fucking race, we go down this road of, oh my God, the streak's going to start now. And he's going to, because here's the thing, I don't agree he's ever going to do in Supercross what he does in outdoors. Now, can he reel off a couple wins in a row? Yes, for sure. 2, 3. But if we do this thing every time he wins just a race, this is the reason why people can't, there are the Jet haters. It's the same thing with everybody else. Like I said, I went through it with people that didn't like Stu. Ricky went through it with people that didn't like him. People went through it with people that didn't like RV. And same thing with Tomac. It's just every time a guy wins a race, if he doesn't win the next weekend, it's cool. It's fine. But to think that every time he wins, just because he wins a race, that all of a sudden he's going to start a streak, it's like, man, well, let's just give it a few rounds. Because, yes, he can go to Birmingham. But what if he doesn't? What happens if he goes this weekend and he just doesn't win? Because from all, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, boys, we're going to have a mutter this weekend.
Great.
It's supposed to fucking storm in Birmingham all fucking week.
Great. Just what I need.
4 mutters this year?
Like
Jesus.
Friday night, they're going to get like, they're projecting like 3 inches of fucking rain Friday.
Wow.
And a tornado probably.
Yeah, which is why we're
Stadium
fucking going.
wouldn't be there when we get
so
there.
It's going to be, it's going to be if it's not a full on mudfest, I'll be shocked.
Well, look. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't go on a streak. Maybe he does. All I know is, as Cole said multiple times, we're 8 rounds in. He's got 3 wins. He's had a couple of kind of just shit races, and we've got a 10-point lead. Yep. So
it looks good.
As up and down as he's been, everybody else has been more up and down. And man,
it's crazy.
I don't know.
If it's a mud race this weekend and he goes and gets fucking 9th, though, that 10-point lead goes away.
I know the mud race is going to be another equalizer.
And then you go to a Triple Crown. So it's like, this is why I hold the horse. I just can't be definitive outside of Jet getting a 25-point lead, which I just don't think is going to happen.
No.
I can't be certain of anything.
Let me ask you this. So two questions for you. Number one, him putting, what did he put, 10, 12 seconds on him last night?
It was like 10, 11.
Does that get into the range of you, like, I guess, putting him on a level with, we'll call it Stu or Ricky or something? Because I know all summer you were kind of like, yeah, but he's not, like, dominating or whatever. Was last night a ride?
He got out front and proved a point.
It was very impressive.
Was last night a ride that made
impressive.
you go, okay, this kid might have that. Okay, cool.
I never said he couldn't do it. He just doesn't do it.
I know, but that was a big catalyst between the two of us over the summer of like me being like, dude, he's just managing. You being like, yeah, but he'll never be on this level because of whatever.
No, it was very impressive.
So like last night, I just wondered, okay.
Very impressive.
Oh crap! Now I lost my train of thought for the rest of it. I don't know. I guess number 2. What is the probability you think he wins this title at this point?
I mean, I think at this point, it's kind of like even Ricky and Stu said last night, though. Even back to fucking Kenny, like with the way the season's gone, you can't count it out. I mean, I think that right now, he's obviously going to be the favorite, but I still have to give it. It's not over 50%.
Yeah,
I'd probably like 45.
It's definitely slimmed down to a 4-horse race now. I feel.
Yeah, top 4 is all
I think it's like 4. I think it's 45%.
Okay.
Because once again, if it's a Moto this weekend, that 10-point lead could go away, and he might not be the points leader afterwards.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So it's just one of those things that, like, with the way the season's gone, even though Jet has 3 wins, I almost feel like outside of him somehow getting a 25-point lead, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I don't think we're going to know who the actual favorite is till we get to like Colorado, because once again, we have what could be a mud race this weekend. We certainly know that fucking Seattle could be a mud race. And then we have 2 Triple Crowns wedged in there. And then once again, we still go to Philly and East Rutherford, which are outdoor races in the springtime.
Yeah.
So I hate to say it, God, knock on wood, I hope we don't have this. We could have 4 more mud races this year.
Ugh,
And with the way the
gross.
world is gone, with the way the East Coast has gotten all this rain, we could have 4 more mud races, which at that point, let's be real, Jet's not the favorite anymore.
What a boring season in that sense, dude.
Ugh.
Like,
Oh, yeah. If we
I
have
was,
having
I
4
was,
mud
compl- I
races,
was
Mud
complaining
crossing is-
yesterday.
yeah, if we have, so yeah, it's not saying a Jet Road phenomenal. He surprised and impressed the shit out of me, which that doesn't mean anything to anybody, but I don't want to do this thing every time he wins a race. We go on this thing where it's like, oh my God, he's going to go on a streak, because if he doesn't, it just makes the whole conversation look dumb.
I suppose. Like I said, I wasn't even really talking about streak. I just was basically delaying the inevitable of him getting a huge points lead and just winning this thing. So,
But at this point, 10 points to me is not a huge points lead.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It seems like it.
I mean, a
because it's
normal
double-
season without all this mud shit coming up, then yeah, I mean, I'd be.
Yeah. Can we talk about that before we move away from Jet? Can we talk about that start there with
Oh, dude, there are a
Oh.
lot of people that are pissed.
Why is that?
There are a lot of people that think the fact that he had 2 people up there. And I'm like,
I'm surprised there
Yeah.
wasn't any protesting.
I mean, well,
There probably has been.
I think that there's people that are trying to look into the rule book on that whole thing. Which at that point, what are you going to do? Like,
I mean, here's the thing, okay? The change in the tires is whatever, okay, but my thing is you can, it's not MXGP. And then even in MXGP, can't I know the mechanics aren't really supposed to go to the gates, but don't those guys carry the bikes to the
Yeah, they
fucking
do.
gate?
Yeah.
So why would you not just change the wheel, pull the thing off, and
then
put
carry
the
it to the
bike
gate?
in the gate?
because they literally every time they do, they go up there, and there's some people, some of the factory teams, they do front and rear. They have tire warmers on there, and they go do their sight lap, and then they change tires, and then
I
they
can't
roll up there.
believe that that the temperature of the tire is a huge factor in
It
Moto.
makes that big of a difference.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
No
I'm
way.
telling you, dude, I don't know how good a spec tire is, but Hoosiers available to the public,
Yeah.
I've never felt anything like it.
I think in the soft stuff, it means a little bit more or less. But I think when you start going to the hard pack tracks, especially outdoor stuff where it's like blue groove marbly, it means a lot. But I think in the soft stuff though, I think it's debate.
I think on that stuff, it's all with the grate. It's all about the start. But I mean, at first, when I first saw it, I was like, damn, that's smart. Why is nobody else doing it? And then as it kept going, I was like, oh shit, maybe that wasn't super smart.
Dude.
I tell you
But
what
dude,
though,
he barely got that thing off, spun it the wrong way. Lucky it didn't go in the chain.
Yeah.
Jet put that bitch in gear while he was pulling it out.
And Jet was kind of looking, but dude, I'm here to tell you, like, Jet was going whether his arm was out of the way or not. Sorry.
well, a lot of
Oh, that could have been so bad.
could've
a lot
been
of
real
our
bad.
a lot of our guys like they realize like how important that is, because remember that whole talk at the MX of Nations in 2018
Yeah.
where we weren't swapping tires and we and everybody else,
Yeah.
like dude, that's like second nature to the GP guys. Like they always swap tires and they always do tire warmers, and now you're seeing more of it that it's like,
you wanna bet- you wanna
Well,
bet those-
nobody else on the grid did that, I think, except for the Honda boys,
Do
right?
you want to bet? Yeah, no. And the PC guys didn't go for a sight lap.
That was smart.
Do you
Turned out
want
to be
Yeah.
smart.
Do you want to bet that Honda does nothing but tire changes all week? Like,
Dude,
at the
I
show?
don't, honestly,
dude.
honestly, man, I don't think Christian did anything wrong. I think it all came down to is the fact that they didn't get the whole shot device loaded up.
That is what really.
The whole
And I
shot
was
device
watching.
was
I saw
improved, yeah.
that first.
Well, I'm watching that and I'm going and I'm looking at the board. I'm looking at the countdown
Yeah.
and I'm like, fuck, dude, they're gonna have to go with those forks unloaded.
Uh-huh.
Like Jet's just gonna fucking go.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying
I
attention
didn't
to the
realize
fact.
the thing was on the tires.
Yeah, I
though.
was not
Well,
paying.
no,
I'm
then
like,
I saw that and I went,
I'm like,
uh-oh.
oh, what the fuck?
Yep. And then as he's trying to grab that off, and then you've got Starling's dad and another AMA guy. Get out of there! Get out of there! And
Dude.
Jet's like, bro, I hope your arm's out of the way because I'm going.
Well,
Bro.
and then the other part of it is he's still. I mean, that just shows you how good the electronics are, because he still dumped the clutch and still got a good start.
Yeah,
I mean,
top
kudos
five
to
Oh,
him
stars.
those Honda
upstairs.
electronics. Those Honda electronics are next level.
That is, you make a good point though. Like to get a top 5 start with that happening, because they did the same
Like,
thing
your
with
mind's
Ansty.
not focused going through the motions
Well,
they usually
Look
go
at
through.
Ansty. Ansty got a shit
I'll also
start because they
tell-
did the same thing.
Also here to tell you, even though I understand, like I'm full on cable clutch guy, but I don't think that would have happened had that been a cable clutch.
What's that?
Just because of the like how much he's going in and out, disengage, re-engage. Whereas, like obviously, with the hydraulic clutch, like it's either,
just gonna grab
It's
and
either
go.
one or the other. Like, dude, you're gonna be sitting there and you're gonna be loaded up, and that clutch is just gonna be fucking cranking. I don't think had that been a cable clutch, he would have got the start the way he did. But I don't think, dude, I was laughing when they went up and they were interviewing Christian in the pit, like when they were interviewing him in the mechanics lane.
Dude.
And this motherfucker sounds like he's about to have a heart. I mean, Christian's a big boy.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I'm like, dude, get the camera off that man.
I mean, I would
Get
be
that
shook
camera
too,
off
dude.
that
Like,
man.
if you imagine,
Oh, dude. Because I mean, think about it. If you're him, not only are you like, man, I almost just got my arm ripped off because he was going. Number two, you're like, dude, I almost just got fired because I couldn't get his damn hole shot thing engaged, and then I would have left. The tire thing was still. Oh man, dude, that was just chaos. That was absolute chaos.
The love of Supercross forks.
I bet.
I bet they do some more like pit stop.
So I'll be honest too. I bet you the AMA and everybody looks at that and
they brush it under the rug. They don't give a shit.
Nope. I bet there's a change made in either timing afterwards because the teams are going to say, hey, we don't want to have this happen. Because can you imagine what Honda's got to deal with if that happens and his arm's not out of the way and gets caught up in that wheel or something as Jet takes off? Because that's a Honda thing too of like, what the hell are we doing? So I bet the teams go to the AMA and Feld and MX Sports and go, we want more time so we can do this. And I bet we see it a lot more, but I bet we have a little bit more time between sight lap and gate drop. And I bet you that board doesn't go up until everyone is cleared like that.
I don't know. To me, it's take the tire warmer off and carry the back tire to the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you got enough fucking people down there in the mechanics area and down by the start. Said, what are you doing?
I bet this will be handled at an upper level compared to what we're even thinking.
Yeah, the funny thing is like
make time for it.
You don't think about that stuff, but it's like when it actually happens right in front of your face, you're like, wow, this is really fucking stupid.
Yep. So, okay, all right, so let's move on here. So Tomac gets second. Was he frying that clutch the whole time? Is that what that smoke was? Or
I don't know. I used to think it was a Kawasaki thing, but I think it's just a Tomac thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think so too. And I think that dude, he got second, but I don't think he looked great. We obviously talked about the fact that his willingness to not quad into the rhythm after you come back across the start. Some of his line selections leading up to, like, what was it? Was it in the heat race or in the main where he just launches the wall coming out of 353? And I'm like,
I think it was the heat.
I'm like, what? I'm like,
trying to be like Stewart.
I'm like, what the point is that? Like, dude, like you try to be Stu S, but there's like a backside. And there's like a whole point of you're just launching to flat. And then I also look at, dude, his bike, and it kind of goes down to what I think about was what happened in Detroit. Proving once again that Yamaha does not work well on the soft stuff. Like, you start looking at the hard pack shit, or once again, like Eli, he's...
I don't know, dude. I have a hard time believing that because last year he did fine on some of the soft stuff.
Yeah,
well, it might be just to
what
they're... But it might be the fact of the way they have to adjust his chassis because of his Achilles tendon.
Well, that could be too.
Because I look at the way Detroit with that soft, and obviously, you know, you're talking about tackiness soft, where there's not much give, where a sand soft, it can blow out, you can afford to make a little bit of mistakes. But, like, I still believe that, you know, you go back to that Detroit ride, and I think that bike was squatting a little bit more, and it was putting a lot more load through his Achilles tendon. And I look at last night, and I'm like, dude, his bike, like, it to me, it looked too squatted in places where it needed to get the pop out of the front end.
It was super interesting, though.
Well, he rides that reverse chopper action.
Yeah, because the way they were talking about, like, well, maybe that shock is blown out and it's squirting stuff. And then if you watch it did kind of smoke more when he would squat it hard. And I'm like,
the rear end of that bike is so stiff. Like,
yeah,
this sounds like I'm talking shit about Mathis, but Mathis is a big boy, right?
Yeah,
and that was the spring rate that he's running.
Yeah, oh yeah, I remember that.
So,
yeah.
Well, and that's the thing, too, is like I said, Eli is so strong with his upper body, and he relies so much energy through that front end that I think a lot of the times, like, when that front end is not a little bit, like, once again, it's not sitting high, it's just that bike it's planning, and for most people, you'd be like, yeah, I want that bike to plant and then to pop up and out. With him, he needs that bike. He can't let it sit that low because then it's basically bottoming. And now he's, like, squatting too much, and dude, ruts, like, fucking now he's squatting, now it's grabbing the edge of the tire and the bike, and that's why you look at a lot of times like that fucking bike was going all over the place.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the KYB, like all the KYB stuff looks softer in the front. It must just have a lot of like a soft initial feel and then really hard like resistance in the bottom. Is that how KYB operates?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not
because we'll get to the next guy, and his bike looked pretty similar.
I'm not a fan of KYB. I was always a fan of Showa, however you want.
I liked riding Yamaha. The KYB stuff felt pretty good.
I'm not saying the KYB stuff is not good. I've just always been more a fan of the Showa.
Yeah. I really need to take more time with my stuff this summer and play with it.
Yeah,
I mean, dude, all that shit's good. All that stuff is good now.
I tell you, I definitely like it better than my WP stuff.
Yeah.
I'll just, like I said, I just personally think
Showa or KYB.
You want to know who else likes it a lot better?
Oh, we'll get there.
I think his bike, when you start getting into the soft stuff, because like I said, dude, you look at Arlington last weekend, and once like the hard, it was tacky, but it started to pack, obviously, like it always does. And that I think his bike, it works better in the hard stuff, man. It just does.
Mm-hmm.
I think in any of that soft shit, I just don't think that bike. I don't know, and I think it's them Gilly having to move around with him being comfortable with the way his Achilles is. You know?
Yeah, I don't know, man, because like you say that bike's good in the hard stuff. He didn't look like himself in Glendale.
No, he didn't. No, you're right. I just
It's weird. It is weird. Like
It's such a strange season.
it's like the just because of his injury and like coming back from where he was, the goalpost keeps moving.
I really think that part of it too is just all of us talking heads overanalyzing it. Of like,
Probably.
bro, he was off the bike for 5 months.
Yeah.
He literally landed and just completely destroyed his leg, essentially.
Yeah,
so like,
I agree.
I mean,
All these other
I know
dudes went all year.
I know about coming back from a minor ankle breakage. How I felt when I got back on the bike, going, "Ooh, I'm not sure here and there and everywhere."
Yeah,
so I
you're
can
right,
only
you're
imagine,
right.
you know.
I'll just say anybody that wants to know what I'm talking about in the main specifically, and I understand the face was starting to get packed in, so it was just really, really rutted up. The wall after the triple before the rollers. Mm-hmm. Go look at how squatted and bottomed his bike was, G'd out, going at the pocket, which is at the point that it's going to really start to like bottom out, and then it's going to lift a little bit backwards as you go up the face. Watch how squatted his bike was into the face as opposed to everybody else. Even Jet, we know Jet likes to run his stuff on the plush side because he's light on the bike. Look at how fucking far into the face Eli's bike was.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. So speaking of KYB stuff, so Chase Sexton gets
you heard
third.
about this?
Have you heard about this?
I heard something
Have you heard
secretive,
anything?
but I don't
Have you
really
heard
know. I don't
anything? Do you
really
know anything?
the-
Do you know what's
So
happening?
did the bike look a little different to you?
I think he looked better. I don't know if I would say the bike.
He looked a little more confident.
I mean, he's
tossing
also
the bike
riding.
into the ruts and stuff.
Also riding, apparently. Didn't
He
know
also-
he's
However, we did get a front end
I was
tug.
gonna say he also took that front side.
yeah.
When he did that, I literally screamed that at the TV.
I
was
thought
like,
of the
oh,
Moto
God.
Memes bingo card. Have you seen the Moto Memes
No,
bingo going
uh-uh.
around? So Moto Memes has this bingo card, and it's got all this random stuff in it. Like Sexton tucks the front end is like I3, and then it's Ricky says Quagmire,
Oh, Jesus.
Jet wins start to finish, just all these random funny ass things. And that's on there. Sexton tucks the front.
Well, we definitely did last night, and that could probably be because we're on the same internals that we were on when we rode for
No,
Honda.
he had show us.
Oh, did he?
So
He looked better, though.
So I was running KYB internals in
Okay.
the bike, and it looked a lot.
No. We're crazy.
Anyway,
Those are WP forks.
Yeah, whatever.
okay, whatever. But to branch off that here in a second, but the bike, it looked set up a lot like Tomac's.
Yeah.
Like it looked like the front end was a lot more plush and everything. Which to me, I would like a front end like that because you know that thing's gonna grab. But I want hold up when I'm hitting the hard stuff, which I think is the way Tomac stuff's set up. He looked 100% better, looked in the right direction. But to me, it's like, damn, how much pull does he have with the KTM group? Because Webb wanted 52 mil for or 48s. WP, they wouldn't even give them to him. Like they butted heads. And Sexton's like, give me KYB internals. Like, and I'm gonna work with my own trainer. I'm doing all this shit, and they're letting it fly.
Well, when you go paying a guy a lot of fucking money to get him away, to leave from Honda, or when he's coming from Honda, and he's like supposed to be the next coming.
Did you?
I don't know, man. It's just weird to me that Webb won them 2 championships and probably could have won them a third, and
I
they
think
didn't want to
that-
work with him.
I think that relationship was just so fractured, though. They didn't give a shit. You guys hear, though, that he's, people keep trying to float this thing, that he's riding at the Baker's factory now?
Who?
Chase.
I have
don't
not
know. We'll
heard
see.
that
Yeah.
yet, but as far as
Probably bouncing
as
around,
far as
but-
the web thing goes, it is funny because he wanted those, and now that's all you can run if you're riding any sort of Austrian thing is the 48s. Have you heard? Did you hear the thing that? So we all heard that he went and bought his own bike, right? Because last year, because he wanted to ride a
Yeah.
stock bike or whatever.
Who?
Yeah,
Coupe.
Webb. He didn't just buy his own
He's riding
bike.
GNCC shit.
He bought his own bike and took it apart and took the frame in and told him build the bike around this fucking frame because he didn't want the factory frames anymore.
build the bike around this frame.
around a stock
An
off the
OEM
showroom
frame.
floor frame. Mm-hmm.
Took that into KTM.
Well, yeah, fucking the factory.
And told them I don't want the factory frame anymore. I want this.
The factory frames, they're fucking gusseting and fucking, you know, they're
Well, because he
making them
went and
super
rode
rigid.
stock bikes and shit and like that.
He
Well, you,
did.
yeah, you look at Coop, you're like, why the hell would you want a stiff ass frame? Coop's not that guy.
Yep.
Coop
So-
wants a
And
bike.
they didn't
wants a bike
listen
that
to him?
flex.
No, they were pissed.
Coop wants a bike that's gonna flex.
They were pissed.
You would think that they'd want him to ride what comes off the showroom floor.
I mean, you would think.
Dude, they're
it's so weird
confusing
over
to
there.
me, man.
It's so weird over
That
there with
is weird.
everything that's happening.
I think these factories have gotten to the point that even though these bikes are so good, they're starting to get to the point that they're like too big for their own britches. They don't want to listen to
They're
anybody.
starting to get to where like, oh, these things are good enough off the showroom floor. Let's dial the suspension.
Which
in.
is funny because, you know, we always talk about Formula One, but you talk about these other teams, and obviously they have certain restrictions. There's a lot more money involved as you know, but they will do anything for their drivers to try to get their cars
That's what
all
I'm
the way
saying.
down to the stupid fucking steering wheel difference on the electronic being over here as opposed to over here. Whereas I feel like our sport, the teams are like,
No, we
yeah,
know
no,
it's
fuck
better.
you. Yeah, no, fuck you guys.
Well, they're even.
off topic.
They're
But yeah,
even-
you want to pay your guys all these money, but yet if they want something, you're not willing to give it. Like, what the hell is
Yeah,
wrong?
so I assume you saw the same post I did, where not only were they talking
the
about
Michael
the
Lindsay
KYB, the KYB forks, they also have rubber-mounted handlebar things now.
And they had the KYB low.
Are you talking about on the,
Yeah.
are you talking about on the bar mounts?
Yeah,
They actually they put rubbers in there?
they went back to rubbers instead of the stiff mounts. Yep.
Yeah, no, it's fucking smart because we did the same thing. We put metal ones, metal inserts and shit, and we realized that was fucking stupid. Like,
Yeah,
it's-
well, don't worry. They've gone back now, but yes, and
They look
and they
cool.
don't want to admit it.
Bike
Yeah.
look better.
I mean, he
I mean,
looks
they're
better,
listening
but
and he
part of
look
it,
better.
part of it too is how's the the hand's got to be better.
what he said, like 80, he's like 85%.
Yeah, which he was still shaking out after that heat, but
Yeah,
he looked
well-
better yesterday. He was more froggy.
Yeah,
so.
Last thing I'll say that's a little off topic before I got another comment about Chase here, but
Yeah.
dude, if I had a shitload of money or if I could pull in an outside sponsor or something, I'd salary 3 guys and I'd say go ride all the bikes, pick which one you fucking want, and we're gonna build that bike around you. Mm-hmm. Like fuck the factory stuff. Like,
No. I'd go hire Ziggy and go off his shit.
okay, or
Ziggy would be the first person I'd give him a call about chassis stuff.
I'd call that Ricky Gilmore guy.
Who?
Gilmore.
Gilly.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't think he...
I don't know. Either way, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
I'd assemble a squad and then just, dude, like I'd go hire Austin Fortner and I'd say, which bike do you want to ride in the 450 class?
Yep.
He'll go ride them all. Start with a base setting. Come in. Okay, I want the green one. I'm sticking with a Cowie. Call up Mitch Payton. Mitch Payton ain't gonna give you no deals or anything probably, but you're gonna build a Mitch Payton bike for the guy off the shelf privateer stuff. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can work a deal out with the factory and be like, hey, I just want this part and this part, something like that. Just depends on the sponsorship money,
I mean,
right?
the funny thing
But-
is we're seeing this right now with Ferrandis of like
Okay,
off the
Roxon.
shelf shit, basically. Yeah,
Dude,
Kenny.
I so...
like Reed was the first guy that really blazed the trail, and
I
he
s-
looked better than anybody I'd ever seen.
I so wish we had a guy. I mean, I know that there's been the Mike Genovas of the world, and obviously we're seeing it, like you said, with Dylan. And then we're also seeing it with the Firepower team with Yuriv Konsky. And then when, you know, Muckoff, and if I'm correct, I think Yuriv was actually the Muckoff guy when it was Mitchell and Clout when they came over and Brayton or whatever. But I so wish, and I keep going back to Formula One, but I base everything off. I so wish we had a guy like what Lawrence Stroll did with Aston
yeah.
Martin. But once again, we talk about how our sport is different, and they don't want people to get ahead. That as long, you know, if you don't have a connection to the OEMs,
Well, look, there's one guy that can do it, and I don't think he'll do it,
who's that?
and that's Deegan. If he goes to a 450, he could bring in enough sponsors to put his own truck there and do whatever the fuck you want.
I feel like I would
My
like to
opinion.
agree with you. I'd like to agree with you, but I think even with as much pull as Deegan has and the fan base behind him, I think that our sport still, and we talk about this, and I'm not going to go on a rant, but like nobody wants it to grow. The OEMs in our sport work different. They'd figure out a way to halt that because they don't want it to look like they don't know best.
The problem is going to be though is the more
Then
and
factory support,
and
whatever
like you
brand
said,
he
and like
picks.
you said, Reed came in and did it. The more Kennys, Dylans, and Reeds that we have that go off these factory teams to another bike and still basically either maintain the same or are better, the harder it's going to be for these OEMs to maintain control essentially because the guys are going to be like, F you. And we saw it last year with Coop. Look at what Coop was doing. Coop was like, I don't want to ride your fucking factory parts.
I think
And all the factories need to do is just step up and do like a lease program.
just like NASCAR.
I think as much as I hate to say it, I think the only way we'll ever get to the point that all of this actually works, which I would love to see it. I think it'd be great because, like I said, I talk about the Formula One model with
or
Lawrence
the
Stroll.
the NASCAR model is the same way where
a
they
guy
don't
has
have
to
the
win.
factories
A guy has
anymore.
to win a championship.
We're off the rails.
If a guy,
We are.
but like I think this stuff is like it's good to talk about though because it kind of shows the flaws that we have in our own sport.
Hey,
Yeah.
well, Sexton is an example of the flaws.
But if you have a guy win a championship, you can't deny him anymore. If you were to have a guy go
we
out
had that too.
what?
We've had that too. Roxon did it with RCH.
Yeah, but you had support from Ricky and Suzuki was still doing. I mean,
Chad Reed was 3 points out on his own bike.
but you know what I'm saying though. If you
Yeah.
have a guy that goes in to win a championship, you can't deny it anymore.
Yeah. So anyway, but Sexton did look a lot better last night. He was froggy. I like the fact that we got the big three starting 1, 2, 3 in that main last night, basically, and we were all like, okay, cool. Now we're set up. Like nobody
When-
can say I got a shit start, had to come through. They all were just there. And,
Well, here's my last point about Sexton.
okay.
How many times is he just going to pull over and let Jet by?
Well, that's what happens when you're scared of him.
Like,
When do we think that if he's 85% right now, when do we think he's going to be 100%?
nah, 2 more rounds.
So
least.
Seattle.
I think he'll be, get through that
depends.
Triple Crown.
That depends.
What do you mean?
Do you think he's going to beat Jet in the next 2 to 3 rounds?
I think he wins.
I mean, he might beat him if it's a mutter.
Yeah, I think he wins a Triple Crown round.
I think he could too. Yeah. I think the next 2 rounds, if Birmingham's a mutter and he's obviously like, if he gets a start in the Triple Crown and it's 12-minute mains, like he could sprint away. I mean, for sure, I think he could. It just depends.
I mean, I'll be honest. If he doesn't start winning here, I think that wrist or whatever hand turns into a thing for the whole year.
No.
the problem is that I don't think
As
he
to
can.
why we're not winning.
I think that it's. I don't disagree with you, but I think it's really hard to hold on to that when you lead the main and you look pretty damn good for a few laps, and then you actually go out and tell the whole world that I'm at 85%. I understand.
Yeah, I mean, that
50
first part of the main was like, oh, this is old Sexton. He's sprinting away a little bit, and I think
And
maybe
he did.
he ran out of steam a little bit.
He either ran out of steam or that hand got sore.
'Cause
Which
you look at
again
it
is
like-
what
'cause-
we're going to hear the rest of
'cause
the
you-
year if he doesn't win.
Because you look at his lap times at the beginning of the main, like his fastest lap wasn't close, but you look at his lap times at the beginning of the main before he started to stall out, like they were consistent all the way across the board.
All it takes is an
Well,
AC
tell you
style.
what, he let
thing
Jet
there.
by. Jet put his gap on, and then I was watching it, and I was like, dude, if this was last year before Jet was around, this would be a fucking hell of a race.
I really what I
It took
don't
Tomac a long time to get him, which
Yeah.
is
What-
impressive.
what I don't like is, and I'm all for showmanship, sportsmanship, be respectful to your competitors. I really don't like the fact that Jet and Chase were dapping each other up after the race. Like Chase, this is supposed to be the guy.
What about Jet's abs?
Hey,
I don't give a fuck about Jet's abs.
they were great.
Let me see your abs.
I don't have abs.
They were great. They were great.
They were
Nice
washboard,
V
dude.
shape. Yep, that was nice. That was nice. He's
How
doing
did-
good work.
How
man.
did
Do
we?
you think he had 9 whoops?
How did we get a? Anyways,
But let me tell you this: you're gonna see that until Deegan gets into the 450 class. He is our bad guy.
I don't need a
He is
bad.
not. He is not bad guy.
I don't
He
need a
is
bad. I don't need a bad guy. I just don't.
Oh,
I
we
don't-
need a bad guy.
I
It's
don't-
just it's just because you just, and I'm kind of on the edge in the middle. You just saw the prime of Ricky, Chad, and James, where they were just on a fucking island. Fuck everybody else.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that mentality.
I mean, you got to alienate yourself to be good, but that's just not a thing anymore. These guys all got 3-4
Well,
guys.
and
at
that's
their
why a lot of these
compound
guys
and-
are soft.
Like I said,
Jet did seem a little more alien-like when he's like on business, though.
like I said, you're not going to see anything different other than guys being like, "Yeah, man, great job, you know, whatever."
Yeah.
Until you get Deegan in there.
Respect your-
Eli's the last of that breed.
Respect your competitors.
Because hold on, I heard this week. Maybe you heard it. I heard that Deegan went up to Dazzy, old man Deegan went up to Dazzy at the end of last year, and said, "Hey, man, you know, great season. No hard feelings.
We're coming for you.
Well, no hard feelings on."
That would be hilarious.
We're coming for you.
He was like, no hard feelings on, you know, stuff that was said on the podium at the press conference. You know, just how do you want to put it? Pro wrestling, essentially,
Yeah.
whatever. You know,
It's just the show.
And I guess Dazzy looked at him and said, "Yeah, fucking right." So,
Oh, they got beef already? or what?
oh, it's building. It's building, and we
Who's
won't.
Hayden gonna have beef with though?
Who are you hearing this from, though?
Somebody said it in a podcast this week. Maybe it was Mathis that said, yeah, he heard on good sources that Deegan went to Dazzy at the end of last season and told him, hey man, like no hard feelings, like
we're just putting on a
nothing
show.
personal. Yeah, we're just, just it is what it is. It's a show, whatever. And I guess Dazzy was like, yeah, get fucked.
But here's the thing though, who's Hayden gonna have beef with? Because he's never gonna be on Jet's level.
Dude, they're gonna
and Hunt like who
he is gonna
beef
make
with
comments.
Max Boland?
He is gonna make comments and mind games towards them.
Yeah, it's
their
probably the Hunter
entire
thing. Like,
career.
I'm the American or whatever.
He'll
like
go
he was
after
doing,
both of them, guaranteed. He is set.
I don't think going after Jet would be a smart idea.
This is setting up
He'll
to be
do it,
the
though.
same thing as Jet. Not so. I'm not even gonna say Hunter, but Jet is gonna be the Travis Pastrana, and you're gonna have Deegan be the D's.
I'll tell you what though,
it's just like freestyle.
I'll tell you-
basically.
That's exactly what it's gonna be.
I'll tell you what though,
The Brian blueprint.
I honestly feel like Jet. Give him a couple more years though, especially if he.
Save it for halftime.
I feel like that whole good guy look though might start changing a little bit.
I don't think it's gonna change. Because the
I think
way he
his
acted
comments
last
are getting
night,
a little bit more.
the way he acted last night made me go, yeah, he really doesn't like the fact that people talk shit, so he's getting robotic with his interviews here because he doesn't want to deal with that.
I don't know. Some
Jet.
of his comments though that he makes.
I don't know. I think he's thrown 2 away on the last lap this year.
Yeah,
so.
maybe. I don't know. So, all right, let's move on here. So Cooper Webb 4th. How about that crazy stat of in 6 times he's never been off the box?
Didn't realize that.
I'd said this last week. I was like, he should have 2 wins on the KTM. McElrath boned him.
Yep.
Johnny Sins boned him.
Wow. Wow.
And then the next year on the bike that he said sucked and didn't like, he led that race until late too.
Yeah. So
Like he was always sneaky good at Daytona. Did he have a shit start last night? Or
I don't know. He's kind of irrelevant though all day.
Starter wasn't great.
He was. He did. And I was watching it. I was like, oh, take Jet, Tomac, and Sexton out of the mix. It's like 2 years ago where Webb's getting Roxon on the last lap.
So yeah, I mean 4th place isn't crazy,
Just
and
quiet
he's
night
still
from him.
in 2nd in the points, and like he's there, but
He's still latched on. He's
I
still
mean,
a gamer.
Even though
Yeah.
he's been great at Daytona over the last since 2018, like nobody really expected him to win, and it's like, dude, he got out of there without losing a bunch of points. So it's like we get back to normal Supercross. Like I expect him to go back to doing what he's been doing all year. So like he's going to be fine. Like I said, anybody that honestly thought that Coop was going to win Daytona, you probably need to get your hands.
I mean, it
on.
wouldn't surprise me, but
He's always been good.
He's been good, but he also has never won.
It's not Arlington.
No.
Nah, exactly.
All right. So Ken Roxon 5th. Whew. In that heat race, I went, well, Kenny showed up tonight because
He
that
always does that
was-
in Daytona though.
That was, dude, him
I also think
blitzing.
Chase though was really going to put pressure on him had he not tucked the front in that heat race.
Probably, but him blitzing that rhythm section, dude, because so I know that like Tomac and Jet kind of blitzed it also, but Kenny just blitzed it in such a more graceful way.
That's just
of
Kenny,
like
though.
floating that front end
Yeah.
through there. I mean, literally, all I could hear was your voice going, and Kenny's just blitzing through the rhythm section, and I'm like,
Yeah,
holy
what was
shit.
it like with 2 laps to go or 3 laps to go? He goes over the fucking tunnel, and like I caught the tail end of it. I was looking something, I caught the tail of it, and he just fucking clips the top and absorbs with the rear. And I'm like, did Kenny just fucking wheel tap the tunnel jump?
100%.
What the fuck?
I mean, he was blitzing that rhythm section like it was fucking whoops, dude.
Yeah.
22 foot apart whoops.
who
it was nuts.
says that Suzuki doesn't handle like a dream?
Yeah, it was
I don't know,
awesome.
they're all good nowadays.
Yeah.
It's funny. He was like, "Yeah, I pulled in the clutch, kept the bike running."
But 5th place, okay. I mean, again, he's just going to be right there, I think, all
I think
season.
this is kind of who he is now. 4th, 5th, can squeak out a win like he did. I mean, Glendale, he was on.
He was.
He didn't put a tire wrong.
I mean, here's the thing. He gets another star like he did at Glendale. Any of these rounds moving forward, I think he does the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't really.
It won't surprise me.
Yeah,
if he
I
wins
don't,
another one.
I don't really care outside of like Jet or Eli literally being on his rear wheel right at the beginning. I don't think it'll really matter because once again, we always talk about like this overused phrase that like fast twitch. Like Kenny's just gonna send it, and now he's gotten to the point that he can like keep that going through the 20+1, whereas like in the years past he like blew out in 15.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, dude, he gets another star like he did at Glendale. He's probably gonna win the race.
Yep. Justin Cooper
Didn't
6th.
have that on my bingo card.
the Cooper one.
Yeah.
Jake Coop,
I had that. He got
you
that.
had him catching Kenny. He caught Kenny.
I mean, he did that shit last year at Daytona. Remember?
But did you have him catching Kenny?
He was
Like,
one,
if he would've
1 second behind.
If he would have
I don't
started
know,
in
man.
front of
Dude.
Kenny, I'd have been like, okay, but that's why I had to put that. I'm like, I didn't have Jay Coop on a bingo card catching
Dude,
Kenny.
he
caught him.
He's the new Brock Tickle.
He's gonna build and
Oh,
build
I think
and
he's
build
going to be better
here.
than Brock Tickle.
Dude.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Dude, he's going to be...
By the end of the season here, he could be a podium threat, man, because
I mean, he
he's
showed speed
good.
in practice, like the whole nine.
Like, his biggest thing is he needs to... Right now, he's got it. He's got the speed. He's got the one-lap heaters in practice, so he puts himself in a good position for qualifying or for the heat race.
Yep.
He's got the consistency of getting through the heat race. His biggest thing now is he just needs to get starts in the main.
Yeah.
Because I'm here to tell you, I agree with that fully. He gets started in the main. I don't care where it is or what it is.
He'll be in the mix, I think.
And I even believe you fast forward 2 weeks from now at Indy, like he gets to start in one of those Triple Crowns. Dude, we could be looking at a J. Coop main win.
Which
Also,
Which
wild.
nobody called that shit.
there's another thing he needs to switch up.
Oh boy.
Get the man a different hat.
Why? Oh.
Hey, guys.
He's got
Come
Louis,
on, put the hat on normal.
He's got a Louis bag.
Well, I mean, his neck moves to the left, so.
I don't know what he's got going on, but the hat is always kind of like this.
Bro, that's how the cool kids wear it, all right?
Dude,
I don't know.
All I
Whatever.
know.
He doesn't give a fuck. Hey,
All
I
I
want that
kn-
191 jersey. I've asked you about it twice.
Just stay on this.
And
Hey,
the second time he responded again when I asked
Did he
him.
really?
And he's like, yeah, I probably got one at my parents' house. And I was like,
Can you go get
oh,
it?
sick. Like, it was right around Christmas.
Yeah,
and,
you mean in New York?
I was almost like, it's Christmas time. You going home for Christmas?
Jesus.
Just hop on the jet. Gas it
I'll
up.
FedEx it to you. No, man. To this point, I am super impressed with J. Coop. He continues to do things that even though we all kind of said he was going to be really good, like even shocked me a little bit.
He
And-
could be the best, like, number 2 rider in this series,
I
essentially.
mean, who could you compare him to, like, in the day that was a good, solid second
Marvin
tier
Musquin.
rider? Nah, Marv won a lot. Marv took championships in the 450 class to the end.
Tedesco. And
Okay,
Makita.
but it's only his first year.
Tedesco
I
and
don't feel
Makita.
like Tedesco was that good on the Makita.
It's only his first year, though, dude.
He
You
wa-
don't think by year 2, 3 here, maybe 3, 4, he's not going to be
the guy.
in the mix for stuff, at
Okay.
least for a while?
Outdoors, we'll see.
If you want to go back to the Honda days when it was Davey and Shorty, whoever do you want to say would second on that group? Because Davey won more than Shorty did, and Shorty every now and then won, but he was just solid the whole time.
I think he's very Andrew Short-esque.
He is, except
Thank
he's
you.
not full on Christian.
And he's not a smiley face.
He's very
just
Andrew
an
Short.
assassin.
He's also not as good looking as Andrew Short either.
Whoa.
Shots fired.
It's fine. Whatever, dude. He doesn't give a shit.
Oh, we're
But
going that
anyways,
route.
last thing I'll say about J. Coop is like
I think a lot of people give a shit that watch this show that you don't think so. Wait till I clip that, and
Think he's not good looking?
then he really gives a
I just
shit.
said he's not as good as looking as
Oh
Andrew
man,
Short.
he is gonna.
He's not as good looking as Andrew Short.
Justin-
And guess what?
Justin
Andrew
Cooper.
Short isn't as good looking as Justin Brayton.
Justin Cooper will
That's
be in.
true.
Justin Cooper is gonna be in the comments here.
Whatever,
Like,
man.
I guess
Dude,
I'm just
you're-
ugly.
What? Justin Brayton isn't as good looking as Ken Roxon or Jorge Prado.
Did you see that one clip
Wow,
where
this
Will
just got
Christian
weird.
called Prado hot?
Huh?
Did you see that one clip where Will Christian called Prado hot? Yeah,
Isn't she married?
yeah, but there's like an interview,
Oh, boy,
and she
that's weird.
accidentally
She slips
like
up
says
with
it,
it.
Aaron
yeah,
Bates,
on,
okay.
on TV,
All right, Aaron Bates 2.0.
and
How
he
about
like
Aaron Bates dropping the rocks in front of Barsha?
Oh God, yeah. Well,
Oh, my God.
he banged her
Anyway.
anyway. You said one last thing I'll say. You said about the number 2 guy. Well, when Eli goes, like I understand it's Coop, and this is going to sound really like crazy, just because of the like the difference in outdoor results. J. Coop might end up being ultimately the number 1 guy on that team.
maybe could be, wouldn't surprise me.
So who you gonna put Hurling's the number 2 guy?
Hell no. You shut your fucking mouth.
You know, when those two step away, I don't. Who's in the pipe?
For who? Star?
Yeah.
Well, Hayden's not going to be on that team anymore. So
Hayden's going
Not Gavin
Hayden's going
Towers.
450 next year.
not Gavin Towers. That's for
what they
damn
keep
sure.
saying.
Yeah, that's stupid.
That was an interview that they talked about.
What?
Like
I bet they're just stirring shit.
They really thought I mean, to be
I bet they
honest,
thought he was getting a title this year. He backs it up next year.
I mean,
and he
it's
goes to 450
it's still
outdoor.
like it's still well in the realm
is
here.
still
Like we're
in
not
the-
out of. And if he wins this year, then he's got next year Supercross.
he's
and
got
then-
backs it up and goes 450
Look,
outdoor.
bro,
like
he's
Sexton
got
did.
he's got some shit to worry about. Fucking winning.
He's got
the
some
title.
stuff to
Well,
worry
we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay,
Congrats, J. Coop, though.
moving on. Stu 7th, real quiet 7th, but that's good for him.
I feel like he hated his life.
I feel like Husky doesn't care about results.
Okay, moving on. Dylan 8th. You want to know the thing I love about Dylan?
What?
I was
He was
saying
in the
this
mix
last
in the
night.
beginning until he weeded it.
Is that he does not give a fuck who you are.
No, he doesn't.
He threw it in on Tomac. It was
Hey,
just
you
like,
want to know
hey,
what's
see
funny?
a bitch.
You know what's funny though?
Hey, Day Tomac, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you. I'm friends.
That
Yeah,
was
but
what he said.
Master Pool was always like, "Oh, you're Dylan Fernandez, fuck you."
Yeah.
outdoors. But
You know the
God.
crazy thing is, man, and I know it's just like their heaters and their Insta bangers or practice clips. Did you guys watch the video that came out on Vital beforehand though of like him training the dog pound? It was him, Drew Adams, the
Was
Gordon
it like
brothers.
the Rising Phoenix thing?
No, it
Something
was just a
different?
video of him like right before Daytona. Dude, some of the videos that I've seen of him during the week at the dog pound,
Probably
like,
insane.
it's like he should be beating Jet. Like he
Well, you
just
see the outdoor stuff? Like,
no,
is
like
that
this
what-
was him riding their Daytona Supercross track.
Yeah, like the outdoor.
yeah,
section,
going in
though.
and out of the black dirt and the sand or whatever. And
Well,
I'm
that's
like,
what I'm saying, dude.
I'm
Let
like,
that dude get
what
the outdoors.
I'm like, what the fuck? And then you watch him go, and obviously he's been good, and he hasn't gotten hurt yet. Knock on wood. But like the difference, and we know it's a mental thing and whatever. But the difference of what I see in the videos during the week as opposed to the weekend, I'm like, man, holy shit.
I've heard this with
Get outdoors.
several guys. Who was somebody was talking about this on a podcast this week. It was a rider talking about another rider, and they're like, "Yo, if we hold a race Monday through Friday, you'd never beat them."
Dylan?
No, it wasn't Dylan.
Oh.
It was somebody else they were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, but then you get
Kevin
there on
Windham back in the day?
But then you get there on Saturday, and it's
Yeah,
like,
I mean, apparently
oops.
Pierce Brown's faster than Chase Sexton during the week.
Oh,
so
God.
Who was it? A 450 guy?
Yeah, I can't remember who it was.
Interesting.
Though.
I wonder if it was Cade Clayson talking about James Stewart.
No. No. So it was somebody.
It was Clayson?
No. It was somebody talking about Freddie. Maybe it was Phil. He was
No.
talking about Freddie.
No
he,
way.
Freddie Norton's
And
going to
he's-
be number one.
And,
in the
No
and
league?
he's like, dude,
way.
he's like, if you saw Freddie during the week, he's like, dude, he's unbelievable.
Supercross
He's
track?
unbelievable.
Phil's talking
No
about his
way.
ass.
He's like, but you
Phil-
put him in a race setting, he's like,
Phil's
dude,
being an
just
asshole.
balls
Phil's
off.
being a dick. There's
Maybe.
no way.
I don't
There's
know.
no
Phil's
way.
being an asshole.
No disrespect to Phil, but
Phil's
there's-
being a
or
dick.
no disrespect to Freddie, but there's no way.
Phil's like,
Okay.
yo, I'm going to pump Freddie up. And I'm like, yeah, you look really good in Supercross.
If he's talking outdoor, then maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, we're moving on.
I did
Moving
watch
on.
him chase down Tomac outdoors one time.
I also
Moving
feel
on.
like Phil should wear different shorts if he's going to be on TV.
Ooh.
You know what? We're moving on. Ando 9th. Super pissed.
Ando was there?
Yeah, that's a thing.
Was he?
Ooh.
Was
Yeah,
Ando there?
yeah. You want to know the clip I saw?
Mr. Kyle, was Ando there?
He was.
Yeah, he was in 9th. Did he get lapped? Because they were storming the track and he was still out.
No,
there.
we're gonna talk
nope,
about
he was
that.
the last guy
Oh,
not lapped.
are we going to talk about that?
We can right now.
Oh, no.
We'll do
I mean, well, let's
let's
wait
talk about
halftime.
that.
You wanna-
we'll do
you
that
wanna
during
rant?
halftime
Okay,
because
all
that's
right.
part of my
Yeah, but
rant.
Ando was there. Like, Jesus, I didn't realize he
Didn't
was there.
see him all day.
I saw a crash, like a couple other stuff. Like, I don't know what he had going on.
I saw him size up that quad on press day, and he was just like, nope.
BRM.
I mean, right?
Got
Right?
a house on
got-
the ocean.
Got
Like,
a
he's
kid.
good.
He's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had
All right. Benny.
I know.
Beta.
I know his salary. It's pretty
don't-
good.
That'll never happen again.
Beta. 10th
That'll
place.
That'll never happen again.
Jumped him up into 8th place in the manufacturer.
You know what
points.
this connection
one
I just
finish.
made was?
Oh, boy.
I think it's funny that beta is like it means small, the little guy.
Oh,
You know, beta
okay.
fish.
Yeah.
And you got the biggest motherfucker riding it.
Probably.
Yeah, he still is like a monkey fucking
What is
a
that? Is that
football.
an oxymoron? Is that what that's called?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
We
so-
should start calling him oxymoron.
All right.
I
Well,
don't
good,
think he would like that too much.
good on.
He
Good on.
doesn't like us anyway. Him and Tevin Tapia were heated about our
Nah.
comments. about
Tevin
him,
was
so-
heated?
Yeah.
No shit.
Benny's heated at us too.
Well, because we clipped something and you were like, it's fine. He's got money. Like, he doesn't
Oh.
need to try.
Oh, yeah.
And then
he liked it or
Tapia
something.
said something and Bloss liked the comment.
Fuck that.
Whatever. I don't know.
damn.
Oh boy,
Snail
Jesus!
tooth.
Could you calm your comments down because what happens is that the software picks up on this, clips that, and then we look like
It
well,
shows-
actually, you look like an asshole all the time.
Well, I
is
mean,
what
you
ends
got
up
that one.
happening.
You got that one guy that's just out for you completely on every video you put
Y'all
out.
nuts?
Yeah, he really wants you. He is
okay.
really all.
He wants your nuts.
Probably. Yeah, it's fine.
I think it's
whatever.
I think the dude, it's a full on troll.
Probably. It's cool.
It's
I
great.
I don't mind.
Hey,
I mean, it
I
makes
know
me
Lyman
laugh.
doesn't have a burner account because he commented on the live stream the other night.
Did he really?
Yeah, it said Stub eats ass.
That's pretty much sums it up. All right. Barsha 11th. It's not good. And somebody tried telling me
I
last
don't know.
week.
He was a little alive in the heat race, though.
Somebody said he's got
Was he?
2-year deals, so he's still good for next year too.
I doubt it. They'll buy him out.
I don't
Yeah,
think. I don't think he's there.
I
next
think Barsha's riding off into the sunset. He's
year.
calling her
That's
career.
kind- He's not happy with the bike
No, yeah, he threw him under the bus.
because they won't let him do.
Maybe he should go to-
You know what would be really cool though if they do keep him around? Like TLD needs him as some kind of ambassador role.
Yeah, I mean, you
I
would
think
think
know
that would
what?
be a good place for him.
You know what I really think they should do, honestly? You know what I think Triumph should do?
KTM Group's really good at getting rid of their ambassador
You know,
people.
Yeah. You know what Triumph should do? They should fire Evan Ferry. You can keep Jalik Swoll. Jalik's doing what he
He's
can.
been solid. Dude.
Yeah, but they should keep Jalik. I'm not
get
going to hate
we'll
on
get to
Jalik.
this.
Jeez. But you're gonna like this.
You're not this week, huh?
You know what Triumph should
Issued an
do?
apology.
You know
Now
what
we're
Triumph
friends.
Did you clip that? Did we get an apology?
No, I
Yeah,
didn't
you know what
clip
Triumph should
anything
do?
last week.
They should hire Barsha. They should hire Smitty. They already got Joey, and we're just gonna have a full-on MTF reunion.
There we go.
Hey.
A full-on MTF
there we
reunion.
go.
Like
They should have bought
fucking-
MTF, not the Moto X compound.
Yeah,
man.
exactly,
There we
man. We'll
go.
just have a full-on MTF crew, and Jalik will just be there, and it's like, yeah, man.
He's just there.
Yeah, I mean, dude, was Jalik solid? But
Yeah.
seriously, like once Smitty's deal's up at Star because he's not gonna win anything on a 450. Barsha's done at Gas. Joey's already on the team. We're just gonna have a full-on MTF reunion.
Sure, why not? All right. AC 12th. I think he came back literally just to race Daytona.
He finally raced Daytona.
I
on a
think that
450.
I don't
And you
think
know
we see
what?
him next weekend.
And you know
Who?
what? He did
AC.
And you know what? He
Can
did.
you text somebody and find out if he's gonna race next weekend?
Probably not.
And you know what? 11th.
Thanks.
I
And you
know
know
his
what?
salary.
11th.
Oh my god.
Do you shut the fuck up? Do
You
you
told
know,
me not to say anything.
You know what? 11th is good.
I mean, that's fine.
I
Look,
think he should
all
be
I'll
happy with
say
11th.
about the salary thing,
Oh my god. You told us not to talk about this.
I just know it's the
I'm
same.
glad you're the one doing it,
Look,
not me.
I just know it's the same as the other guy on the team,
Ah,
which is crazy to me. That they're both the same.
I'm not making a comment on this.
Okay.
I'm
Can
not
I
because-
can I throw out a number and you just like blink?
No.
Damn it.
No. He told us not to talk about it, and then here he
Oh.
is. Remember that text
That's
was
all
very
I'm saying. I'm not dropping
the
numbers.
text was very specific about do not talk
Because
about it.
I really want to know.
Don't drop numbers.
And here I am over here keeping my fucking mouth
Okay,
shut.
good boy,
and then
good
you're
boy.
over here talking about it.
I'm just saying they're the same.
Kyle Chisholm gets 13th.
After barely making it, well, I guess he
yeah.
barely. Yeah, he made it through the.
Do you like
LCQ, but-
the little jab of like how Ricky was like, dude, Stu, you and him went pro at the same time or some shit
Hey,
like that.
Actually, they didn't, but that okay.
It's whatever.
You want to know what really grinds my gear?
Oh boy, here we go.
The fact that there was 3 people in the booth last night, and there should only ever be 2.
Yeah, get rid of Ricky.
I know, right?
Oh
Fuck that
boy.
guy.
Chiz would have been a great fantasy pick, but guess what?
We
live in
can't
fucking
play
Michigan.
fantasy.
Yeah, you
As
probably
we
also
li-
know would have been a great fantasy pick, John Short.
And you know who else I would have been looking at? That Bourdon dude. Even though he didn't make it, I would have had eyes on him.
All right, so Shane Sins is 14th.
Is McKell? How crazy is it that like a few years
He's
ago,
just a solid top 15 guy.
McElrath was like one of the hottest prospects coming off at 250, and now he's just kind of hanging out.
Up there battling with Sexton.
Fucking
Remember?
Oh yeah,
In
the
the
250
title, the 250
Yeah.
title. Not
yeah.
now.
Yeah, not now. I was like, what?
He was very confident after his 4th place finish in the mud, though.
Yeah, I bet he
Very
was.
confident.
Maybe he'll get another 4th this weekend.
Maybe.
I mean, that handlebar stash really boasts
And he
confidence.
doesn't even watch porn.
John Short,
He's a good Christian
15th.
boy.
He is.
On a Cowie. John Short, 15th
Doesn't want to be
on
a factory
Cowie.
rider.
He's
Does-
never going back to the beta.
No,
Nope.
never.
Not at
No,
all.
because he already has done better one time on that Cowie than he did on the beta.
Team green.
And he wasn't getting paid either, so.
Time Master Pool 16th. Actually made a main on a
Oh, he was in the
450.
main.
Yeah.
See, I don't even
didn't
give
know.
a shit about the back half of the field anymore.
Me neither.
Because of Paul.
Yeah, how much do you really just hoping he's like, just wants these next few months to be over with and he just wants to get to outdoors?
Yep. That's what I'm hoping.
Oh, I think he'll be even better outdoors.
Oh, he's going to be great outdoors,
Yeah.
but I think he really hates riding Supercross.
Jeremy Hand, 17th.
Good on Jeremy Hand, man.
AP, huge one. There.
Ejectocito, cuz.
Almost a replay of whatever the hell year it was, 15, 16, whenever it was there that he broke his heel.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. That was Daytona.
Yeah, mhm.
Was that all that long ago?
Yeah, it was a while.
Wow.
It was a while.
I just remember his last big one was 2020 Unadilla.
Hey, business idea. Did you watch his interview on Race Day Live?
No.
Classic interview, by the way.
Classic.
But they're like, hey, how long before we get some cowboy hats out there for the fans? He's like, oh, we're working on it, but it's hard to find a cowboy hat under $150. You know, if you can find it in bulk, let me know. Let's make a deal. So
Also-
we better start
So-
sourcing some cowboy hats.
Make some cowboy hats.
I also find
yeah.
it funny that people, there was the question that was asked that like, oh hey, like where did the cowboy thing come up? Like I understand he likes NASCAR, and like they went on this whole rant, and somebody was just like, he's from fucking Ohio, he's not a cowboy.
Yeah, somebody said like he
It was
somebody
2000
like kind of
was
brought it up.
2019.
Somebody kind of brought it up, and now he just like taking it and ran with it. Because like remember Star Days, he was just
Yeah.
nothing but that.
Yeah.
However, he did do a lot of country music karaoke with Bobby Ray.
He did so many weird shit as like the worm in the mud. You know, all that
Maybe he
kind
was
of
just
stuff.
trying to find himself, and he found him.
You know the funny thing though is I remember him so much because I watched him a lot as an amateur. He just, if you would have told me all these years later, 10 years later, that this is who AP would turn into, I'd be like, no.
No,
way.
I remember watching
No
Walker
way.
beat him in Redbud.
Yeah, dude. He really didn't come into his own until he got off 125s.
I think going down to the Moto X compound what did it for him.
Oh, for sure.
I think he was a guy that
Okay.
Sorry. But I think he was a guy that needed somebody like, hey, you got to do this every single
Hey, man,
day.
it was all those days of battling with Tyler McSwain. You all right?
I do have a cool picture of me and Tyler McSwain going into the first turn together.
Yeah, that was the last time you saw him.
The last time I saw him. That bike with the stick-on numbers almost whole shot at that JGR bike.
Hey, you know what? You can hold your head high. You're still in the sport. He's not.
Hey,
Oh boy.
I got the factory ride. He didn't.
All right.
I got a factory ride with no results. Tell me I didn't.
Yeah, he did.
Freddie Nor 19.
Just killing it on a
Just
Supercross
killing-
track would beat everyone.
Dude, if he rides like that during the week, he
He
should
would
be
win.
Jet last
He
night.
would be beating Jet.
There's no way.
Dino
that's
is 20th. Anybody see what happened to Hunter Lawrence? He's 21st.
He crashed.
Well, I know he
real. I
crashed.
saw his helmet just weeded up.
Just fucking waving.
all that momentum he had at Arlington just went down the drain.
And there it went.
You think it grinds his gears that Jake Hoop is just putting in work and
I don't
he's
know.
I bet it grinds his gears that his little brother is just this amazing phenom.
Do you think
You
he
know-
grinds the gears in the Porsche, or do you think he knows how to actually drive it?
No, I think he does. Probably.
All right.
Do you think the Lawrence brothers ever go their separate ways?
Yes.
Because of tension.
Event. Well, I don't know about tension.
No.
I think they'll go their separate ways at some point, but I don't think it'll be because of tension.
Hunter is.
I think Hunter's over the
Hunter
whole.
is mature enough, I think, to just go. You know what? It's just not my thing.
That's just like he's gonna be the better brother. Like he's the better
You
guy.
know, you know the thing though. You know what I actually.
And just say, you know what? Just be the happy. Just be the guy who's a little bit more serious, but happy to be here, and just ride with him essentially to just keep it going.
You know,
Hopefully they have one bank account and just pool their money.
depending on how Hunter's trajectory goes, and this is ridiculous to even say this, but like what he does in the next few years, I could honestly see him going back over the pond
Maybe.
if it goes
Yeah.
less than stellar. The
Yeah,
next
I
few
think
years.
maybe he left some stuff
Jets
on the
never
table
go.
over
Jets
there.
never going. So
No.
like he's not gonna. But Hunter, I really could because I think Hunter actually really loved the
International.
the end of like at the beginning wasn't great, but the end of his GP.
And he's got
career.
enough clout now to get a
Yeah.
good ride
Oh,
with
for
good
sure.
pay and
For
like
sure.
actually,
He'd be
do
on the
it.
he'd be on the factory Honda team over
Yeah.
there, no problem.
So
I don't. I think he's here for good though.
I mean, I don't want to see him go over there, but I just think that if ever came down to you talk about the leaving their separate ways, I think they would be Hunter doing that. I don't think it'd have to be something dramatic.
yeah,
The most interesting talk I did hear about going overseas though is how interested Anderson was.
yeah, that's
He'd
an
fit that
interesting
lifestyle,
thing.
man.
Yeah, he would too.
Yeah, I think he'd be down.
Yep. And Justin Hill 22nd, but we wouldn't know because there's no difference between him and the guys in the LC Kia who didn't make it. So
Justin Hill was there.
I mean, he was 22nd.
I mean, I watched.
Somebody was going to put him in his wild card for 10th, and usually I'm an advocate for Justin Hill, but I was like, fuck no, don't do that.
Bad idea.
I didn't even realize Justin Hill was there.
Yep. And that's your 450 race
I think his
recap.
brother was.
Team Tedder, dude.
Brought to you by our friends at Gutterworks. Always well hung, like Cameron Sackadoo.